On the news tonight, ASU declares total indefinite strike in Taraba State. Kaduna State Governor-elect Uba Sani gets certificate of return, promises inclusive government. And Presidency confirms Silva's resignation as Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Mary Kanu. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU Taraba State University Chapter, has declared a total, comprehensive and indefinite strike action. This followed a permission by the national leadership of ASU to the state branch to embark on the strike action to press home its demand and against the state government's rebuttal of claims that it was not owing workers' salaries. Arising from a Congress meeting, the union insists that the rationale behind the action is hinged on government's failure to pay earned academic allowances, promotion arrears, fractional payment of salaries to staff, as well as unsettled staff pension and gratuity scheme. Reacting to the strike action, the state government, through the Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Edward Baraya, says the union was yet to communicate its action to the state government. Also reacting, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Media and Publicity, Bala Danabu, in a press statement, said the outgoing governor does not owe any worker. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has issued certificates of return to the Governor-elect of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani, and his deputy, Hadiza Balarabe. A total of 29 members-elect of the Kaduna State House of Assembly received their certificates during the event, which was held at the INEC State Headquarters. Speaking after receiving his certificate of return, the Governor-elect appealed to those who contested against him in the governorship election to join hands with him towards moving the state forward. The Presidency has confirmed the resignation of the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, ahead of the All Progressives Congress governorship primaries in Bayelsa State next month. President Muhammadu Buhari's Special Assistant on Digital Communications, Bashir Ahmad, in a tweet on his official Twitter handle, confirmed the development on Friday after weeks of speculations about the intention of the minister. Ahmed tweeted that the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and former Bayelsa State Governor resigned his appointment to contest in the next Bayelsa governorship election scheduled for November 11, 2023. Silva had last year resigned as minister after declaring his intention to contest the presidential primaries of the APC, but a few days later he withdrew the letter despite attending a valedictory session with President Muhammadu Buhari alongside other ministers who contested the primaries. And rising from the crisis rocking the opposition People's Democratic Party, the party's working committee in Benue State has suspended the party's executives in Igyorov Ward, Boko local government area of the state. The PDP acting chairman in Benue, Isaac Mfo, announced the suspension of the ward executive members while speaking with journalists in Makurdi, the Benue state capital. Mfo said the action taken against the executive members is necessary to restore sanity in the ward following their suspension of Iyorchia Ayu over alleged anti-party activities, with claims that he worked against the success of the party in the ward during the elections. The suspension of the Benue State Party executives comes a day after a High Court in Benue granted an interim order restraining Ayu from functioning as the party's leader. The PDP subsequently appointed Umar Damagum as the acting national chairman. And as expected, reactions continue to trail the removal of Iyorchia Ayu as the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. Ayu stepped down from his position as PDP national chairman barely 2 days after a Benue High Court had restrained him from parading himself as the national chairman of the party after he was found guilty of anti-party activities as well as not paying his annual dues as enshrined in the party's constitution. Reacting to this development, the Director, Global Network for Sustainable Development and political analyst Phil Roberts, in an interview with TV360 Nigeria, described Ayu's sack as a long-anticipated one. He added that the old guards in the PDP need to retire and allow new and trusted faces lead the party to the next level.
They suspended Otum, they suspended Fayose, they suspended Ayim, Pius Ayim and some other people. So why didn't you ask them, why didn't they suspend Wike? They left Wike, but because they are still trying to see how they could manage Wike. Because Wike is a force. You understand? They know that Wike is somebody that you cannot just throw the baby away with the bathwater. For Wike's case, Wike is the baby, and himself is the bathwater. He babs and swims in that water of trouble. And they know that Wike also knows what they know. And don't forget, Wike has been one of the major people financing the party. You understand? So what they actually did is that they're trying to play a game. And don't forget, in politics, there are lots of negotiations that go behind the door that you don't see. You understand? So there have been backdoor negotiations. And they've been trying to see how they can manage Wike. And let me also let you know, even till now, Wike still has a major force in the party. You understand? So what they are trying to do, they don't want a situation where PDP will just break away. That's why I tell people that if you are fighting a battle, you should select the people you fight with. And if you are joining people to fight a battle, you should also select the side you enter. Because check out, Wike was a major person looking for trouble. But you see, they are still trying to see how they can manage him. But look at other people, they have suspended them. You are suspending somebody like Fayose. You are suspending somebody like Pius Ayim. Look at the people that is suspended. These are not small politicians. So if the PDP does not manage this situation very well, the party will just collapse.
Still in political matters, 2 weeks after the governorship and House of Assembly elections, the All Progressives Congress APC Lagos State Chapter has reviewed and addressed the allegations raised by opposition parties regarding the elections. Speaking during a briefing, the Publicity Secretary of the party, Oluseyi Oladejo, while addressing the issue of ethnicism, called it an abhorrence to democracy, adding that the 2023 general elections were one of the most free and fair elections the state has ever conducted. Commending the security agents for nipping electoral violence in the bud, the Commissioner of Information, Gbenga Omotosho, also addressed the misinformation of death claims from the opposition party and regarded them as false.
The allegations of threat and intimidation of voters is a typical deployment of the strategy of the aggressor playing the victim. How else do we explain the case of Omaseye Iseri, otherwise known as T-NAC, a Labour Party chieftain who went to a polling unit with white dogs, boasted of his unlawful action, only to jump into the media space the following day to allege intimidation after it was glaring that his party lost woefully in the gubernatorial election. It is on record that there are 13,325 polling units in Lagos State, and there were reports of disturbances in about 130. or 1% of all the polling units. I think it is too infinitesimal for anyone to rely upon to say that the election was not free and fair.
Somebody posted that somebody died somewhere in one community. And then people went to find out, to discover that the person didn't die in Lagos, or neither did he die because of elections. And that there was nothing like that. And people are posting today that we should be wary of such lies. And the lies coming from these people, they show that people are desperate. It is enough for you to mourn your loss if you don't have the true spirit of a sportsmanship. But for you to want to bring the roof down on everybody simply because you lost an election, I think is irresponsible. And I think it's something that people should not embrace.
Nigerian youths under the aegis of the Emerging Leaders Forum of Nigeria, ELFON, have condemned those nascent ideas of an interim government, saying it will not happen in Nigeria. Speaking to newsmen during a peaceful walk around the streets of Abuja, the president of ELFON, Gostime Samuel, advised the country's security agencies to stop the issuance of permits for any form of anti-democratic protest in the country. The group has also thrown its weight behind the Independent National Electoral Commission Commission (INEC), the security agencies and the Nigerian people for their resilience in protecting the nation's democratic system.
Nigerian youths we've agreed today that we want Nigerian democracy to continue, and we want every Nigerian to be law-abiding, and Nigerians should please, as a matter of fact and urgency, make sure that democracy is being sustained in this country. We want to call on the security agencies of this country. They should please stop approving letters of protest.
We are in solidarity with the security agencies, we are in solidarity with the federal government, we are in solidarity with INEC. They are the ones that are empowered to make sure that we have a democracy. Come May 29, whoever that has been declared as winner will be sworn in. The cases that are pending in the judiciary will be attended to. If there is any cause to call for cancellation of election, it's the court that will do it. So we do not support interim national government. We do not support it. We do not support hate speeches. We do not support any ethnic or religious jingoism, anything that would divide us. We are better united as a Nigeria.
I want to appeal to our mothers to stop coming out and bring their nudity out to protest. There's election has taken place, and it was fair election. Please stop coming out. Any action will be affected by the students. We will suffer it most. Please, we beg you, our parents, stop getting naysay from other political parties. Please let peace reign in Nigeria. United we stand, divided we fall. Please, our parents, stop coming out showing your nudity. You keep portraying this to the other nation abroad, and they feel that Nigeria is not in peace. We are in peace. Do not let Nigeria shambles, because we are going to suffer for it. We are going to remain refugee if this happens.
The Alliance for Eradication of Corruption, a civil society organization, has rejected the call for the sack and removal of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa. The organization says it is a wrong idea at this transition period to remove Bawa, as it will further defeat the already established fight against some political office holders, most of whom will no longer enjoy immunity, and thus makes investigation easily done. Addressing newsmen in Abuja, the convener, African Leadership Strategy and Transparency Development Initiative, Nelson Osaize, said the CSOs have passed a vote of confidence on Bawa and urged him to carry on with the mandate of President Muhammadu Buhari of fighting corruption to a standstill.
Bawa should be allowed to complete the ongoing investigation of some of the political office holders, including that of the ruling party. We are sure these are part of those callings for his removal, which we stand against, and advise the outgoing government to ensure that such calls are not listened to. We believe that when a man is doing well, the man should be commended, not allowing some persons that has one or two political interests simply because probably they'll be found culpable to that effect. They must truncate the system. We must resist that. We cannot allow that to happen, because in Nigeria where we are today, we don't run a zoo republic, we don't run a banana republic.
And deforestation in Nigeria is being supported by powerful people at the subnational level who protect loggers that produce charcoal for sale. These are the words of the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, who spoke during the inter-ministerial media briefing at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The minister said the state governments have claimed that the trees belong to them, thereby frustrating the federal government's efforts to go after loggers and charcoal merchants.
The activities of people in the charcoal business, with all due respect, is being supported by a number of powerful people at the subnational level. So, and if we try to do some level of enforcement, they say, look, we own this territory. You are federal government. You cannot come and enforce your rules or policies on us. So that is part of what is the challenge in terms of controlling these activities. But in spite of that, the task force is still there, going after some of them, on ad hoc basis, trying to find out who and who are involved, who licensed you,
who we are supplying to, so we're doing our best to curb it as much as possible. Initially, federal government used to go to states to intervene in erosion matters. They are classified under ecological funds. But the state insisted that they must be given their share of ecological funds. So since then, Mr. President, being a Democrat, said, okay, he gave directives. So at every FAC meeting, deductions are made and paid to states from ecological funds. But in spite of that, the little that trickles on the federal government through the ecological funds office, we still intervene in states, to support erosion challenges in several states. So we're doing our best to support them, but we're also calling on the states to also live up to their responsibilities and utilize those funds they get for ecological funds effectively.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, Nigeria's public debt hits 46.2 trillion naira in the fourth quarter of 2022. We'll bring you details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now, a recap of our top stories. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU Taraba State University chapter, has declared a total, comprehensive and indefinite strike action. Arising from a Congress meeting, the union insists that the rationale behind their action is hinged on government's failure to pay earned academic allowances, promotion arrears, fractional payment of salaries to staff, as well as unsettled staff pension and gratuity scheme. Reacting to the strike action, the state government, through the Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Edward Baraya, says the union was yet to communicate its action to the state government. We also told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued certificates of return to the governor-elect of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani, and his deputy, Hadiza Balarabe. Speaking after receiving his certificate of return, the governor-elect appealed to those who contested against him in the governorship election to join hands with him towards moving the state forward. Well, in case you missed any of the news bulletin, or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex or TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. India's weekly positivity rate has jumped to 1.91% on Friday from 1.71% recorded on Thursday. The country has reported over 3,000 COVID-19 cases for the second day in a row, with 3,095 new infections. In the last 24 hours, the highest one-day fresh infections in the last nearly 6 months. According to the Health Ministry, the active caseload in the country increased from 13,509 on Thursday to 15,208 and has also issued an advisory asking people to wear masks if they have flu-like symptoms. We'll take a short break and return with business updates. Don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world. A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Folashade Ogurinde is standing by with business updates. Folashade, over to you.
Well, many thanks, Mary. And now in business, Nigeria's total public debt stock, consisting of domestic and external debt stocks of the federal government of Nigeria, the 36 state governments and the Federal Capital Territory, hit 46.25 trillion naira in the fourth quarter of 2022. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, made this known on Friday in its Nigerian domestic and foreign debt report for Q4 2022 released in Abuja. The report shows that the nation's public debt grew by 4.96% in Q4 2022, while external debt stood at 18.70 trillion naira in the same quarter of 2022. Ahead of the full implementation of African Continental Free Trade Agreement (AfTA), the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has commenced regulation of management system certification services in the country. The Director General, SON, Farouk Salim, says bringing sanity into management system practice will go a long way to eradicate quackery in management system practice, while also ensuring that the business community gets efficient and improved service delivery. Salim, at a one-day stakeholders engagement for the National Register for Conformity Assessment Practitioners in Lagos, said the move was to put an end to uncertified and incompetent certification bodies which shortchange the unsuspecting Nigerian consumers.
We expect them to have an agreement on common ways of behaving and common ways of practicing. So the public will be better for it, the nation will be better for it. Right now, anybody can come into the market without documentation, and some of our customers, the public, have been duped by companies that are not authentic. So this process will make sure that only individuals that are qualified and authentic are participating in the system.
Anybody who is going to lead a company to obtain this certification must be competent. And that's why SON is trying to regulate the registration of all the auditors, the consultants, and even the certification bodies. Because we have some certification bodies coming from outside this country that are not even competent. They just come here to take our money and then run away.
There's so many briefcase carrying consultants that are walking around who even didn't pass their audit tests and examinations, are not really auditors who are practicing. Yes, without standardization, without regulation, they can practice. There's no law against it. But you now see that a lot of companies are being shortchanged because the people who are taking them through certification don't really know much. So what SON is trying to do here is register auditors and consultants, and that's a good thing.
We'll take a breather now and be back with a review of the stock market. Just stay with us. Friday's market continued its bullish trend from Thursday as all-share index ended in the greens at 0.82%, while we'll see market capitalization resting at a 29 trillion naira mark. Now, in the aggregate, 105 NGX-listed equities participated in trading, ending with 20 gainers and 15 losers. Lasaka Assurance led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 1 naira 10 kobo per share, followed by Ikeja PLC. Now, on the losing side, Computer Warehouse Group came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 9.38% at 87 kobo per share, followed by Keverton Offshore Support Group. Now, the end of last week day of trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 557 million volumes of shares valued at 3.6 billion naira exchange hands in 3,943 deals. Now, today's data showed 43% decline in volume, 13% decline in turnover, but 6% improvement in deals. And now to select global stocks, UK FTSE, US Dow Jones and Asian stock Nikkei, which all had a productive trading day. As you can see, they all ended in the greens. Now, UK's FTSE inched higher to 0.15% thanks to healthcare and consumer staples as worries of recession fades. And that's it on Business News. Back to you, Mary, for the rest of the news.
Thank you for the update, Falashade. Now on the global scene, former President Donald Trump is expected to be arraigned as early as Tuesday in an unprecedented legal case, potentially reshaping the American political landscape ahead of next year's election. The 76-year-old becomes the first former U.S. president to be indicted when a Manhattan grand jury determined there was enough evidence to proceed with a case against him for directing hush money payments to a porn star during his 2016 campaign. Trump, who is running for president again and faces multiple other legal probes, called the indictment political persecution and election interference at the highest level in history. And in sports, former South African Paralympic champion Oscar Pistorius, convicted of killing his girlfriend River Steenkamp a decade ago, will remain in prison after a prison board denied his request for parole on Friday. The prison services, in a brief statement, said the refusal was related to the fact that the convict had not yet served a sufficient part of his sentence to be able to obtain an early release. Pistorius has so far served half of his 13-year sentence for murdering his girlfriend in 2013. The former amputee sprinter is currently in a low-security prison in Rolling Fields, just outside the city of Pretoria. And that's our package this evening. Thank you for staying with us. I am Mary Kanu.